Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Nerds with Friends. My name is Cody Leach, and as always, I'm joined by Christian Garcia.
Trying to stay hydrated. Right
Cool.
Here. For audio people can't see me.
Yeah, great for all of our audio listeners. We're transitioning more and more to video. And joined via Zoom, one of our oldest best friends, Fabienne. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are y'all?
Surviving?
Surviving? Yeah.
That's the best anyone can hope for.
Yeah, just
you
surviving.
We're all just like, whenever I ask anyone, how are you doing? They're always like, I don't know, man. I'm hanging in there.
At least we don't have to...
I feel like you ask because it's like a courtesy of like you're trying to like have some like semblance of normality.
Yeah.
But we all know.
Yeah, we all know. It's been really hard.
We haven't had to fight anyone for toilet paper. I mean, that's been good.
That's good.
I did run out like 3 weeks ago, and I went searching. I'm like, this is still a thing. We still can't find toilet paper anywhere. It's crazy.
You gotta talk to your Filipino friends.
I'm not gonna lie.
And get a tabo.
We're horrible. Oops, sorry. You go.
No.
Go ahead.
I was just telling Cody, it's something dumb. Go for it.
We were horrible, and we because we were in a studio, so we had just like stocked like the studio with like a shit ton of toilet paper, and then this whole thing down, and we were like, oh, thank God. And we're still on that same box of toilet paper.
There you go. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Yeah, the people who went to Costco runs, on Costco runs before the toilet paper apocalypse happened, those guys are the ones who are really living the rich life.
Right?
At least we didn't have to trade stuff for it. That's good.
Yeah. Oh, you haven't traded hand jobs for toilet paper?
Not yet.
Just me, huh? Okay.
I'm not gonna lie, like we thought about that too, and we don't drink, but we bought a bunch of beer because we were like, dude, alcohol is like the best thing to trade in the apocalypse.
Oh, the alcohol has not stopped flowing since this all started. Like the toilet paper manufacturers, the hand sanitizer manufacturers, like they need to get on freaking Coors Light's level because that shit is always stocked.
That's what keeps society running, man.
Yeah.
Fucking apocalypse is happening. You're like, all right, well, fuck, I'm just gonna get hammered.
100%. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. If you remember from last week, we launched our new Patreon, so make sure you guys check that out. It's a great way to support the show. Patreon.com/nerdswithfriends. There's lots of fun tiers on there where you can get cool rewards, including being a guest on the actual show, coming up with topic for the show, and even getting custom painted miniatures by me or a sketch from Christian.
I need to put my artwork up. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, you need to put it up there so people know what they're bidding for.
Yeah, I need to put it up.
Yeah.
And we were talking before the show started a little bit. Fab, you paint minis too, and you actually belong to the same group of miniature painting noobs as I do on Facebook. Is that...
I do. I am a part of that group.
Is that just a really supportive group or what? Or
Wait, first name the group.
It's called Miniature Painting Noobs on Facebook. And overall, I do enjoy it.
I do enjoy the group too. And there are some like really amazing painters, and there are some like really, really great tips and tricks. I think. So I've played Warhammer since high school.
Yeah.
And I actually stopped because of how just like any other nerd group back in the day, was not inclusive and just real dicks and all that. So a lot of that
Warhammer
is
not a very inclusive universe even. Like there's like the Sisters of Battle who are one of the best factions out there. But most of the rest is just a bunch of...
it is getting better.
Yeah.
It's getting better, but there's a lot, especially 40K. There's still a lot of problems. Actually, fantasy is so good. They have some really inclusive, amazing like models, and even like pro players in fantasy. There's a bunch of POC, trans, like it's great. But for whatever reason,
fantasy's a dead game now, right? Now it's all Age of Sigmar.
Oh, Sigmar, yeah, it's now Sigmar, but it's still the same.
Sigmar's still pretty good.
Yeah, Sigmar's very, very good.
Okay.
Like very, very good.
Nice.
40K is getting there. Like when they released the new Sisters, they even like had more skin colors, and like thank God they fixed the Repentia, because the Repentia were fucking horrible. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the original Repentia. They're pretty much just in like strips of cloth.
Yeah.
and like that's it.
That's the best armor.
You
want to go in
best armor.
You want to be able, to move around. You're planning on not to get hit. You wear armor, you get complacent.
Sure,
you're like, I could take a hit, but if you don't have armor, like, yo, I can't risk a fucking, blow.
It's motivation to keep mobile.
Yeah, the lore of the Repentia is also kind of problematic.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've read any of the books.
I have not, but I have
okay.
done some like lore deep dives on YouTube and whatnot.
So the Repentia are sisters that have sinned and have to repent for their sin, and they still are technically sisters. They don't like lose their ability to be sisters. They just lose their like rank essentially. Right. And in the book Faith and Fire, I think it's Faith and Fire, you actually witness a ceremony where a woman is one of the actually person on the main character's team becomes a Repentia, and it's because a psyker got into her head.
Okay.
And assault allegory here.
Yeah.
It's she sinned because a psyker got into her head and took advantage of her.
I kind of want you to explain.
Well, psychers.
No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, well, I was gonna say, psychers are psychic guys. I mean, they use psychic powers.
Yeah.
No.
They use psychic powers and like mind control. So like in the book, they're it's really complicated. In the book, they're escorting like a really powerful psyker to get put in jail, to psyker jail, because psychers are bad.
Yeah.
And he ends up getting out while they're transporting him, and he takes over the minds of a couple of sisters and like uses them to like fight back and like get to escape. Which is totally like obviously not those girls' faults.
Right, exactly.
It's just
but
he's a really fucking powerful psyker, but they end up punishing the girls.
They're held responsible.
Anyway,
yeah,
they're held responsible.
Well,
and
it is the grimdark future.
It is the grimdark future. But I think they have now a bunch of women writing for them.
Yeah.
Like the Severina Rain book was written by a woman, and I think they're starting to be like, that's old lore now, guys.
Yeah. That was 30K.
40K. Yeah.
That was so less Millennium.
Yeah. So I have high hopes because I do love 40K. I've played Sisters of Battle, so nice. I do have high hopes for it.
Yeah. Well, I'm currently building a Raven Guard army, and then also I have all the Necrons from the Indominus box too. So
I wish I could paint that small, man. I can't fucking do it.
A lot of people say that, but even fewer people try.
That's true. No, fuck. I'm not. I know I can't. Like even like when I'm regular drawing or painting, I have to connect papers together. Like I'm pretty sure this is the size I need, and I'll fucking go over it. Like that's just me. Like I know myself. So
yeah. I mean, if you ever want to try, Necrons are a pretty good they're a pretty good one to start with.
Yeah, so when I bought that box, I thought that it was like, I'm getting a good start on Space Marines, which I knew I really enjoyed. And then it comes with this other half. I'm like, I'll slap paint job on those guys. So I have like two different, factions to play with. But as I started getting into the Necrons and like the Overlord is a really cool model, and I'm doing the Reanimator right now. And it's just like, those are really cool sculpts, and they have really cool details on them. So I'm actually I really enjoy those.
I'm really impressed with all their new sculpts. All of their new stuff. It's so dynamic, and how they split all the pieces now so that the seams are just like intertwined.
They're always hidden and stuff.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when
nice.
When you're doing 70 models in a row. It's nice not have to deal with those pesky mold lines. Well, I feel like we've rambled about some nerdy stuff already, but let's start the show off now that we're 15 minutes into it, like we always do, where we do some nerdy confessions, where we confess the things. Yeah, we gotta confess the things that make us nerds.
Y'all still do this?
Yeah, I know, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
You lived up here when we first started the show, I think, right?
I think I was your guest on your like 3rd or 5th show.
Is that right? Man.
Mm-hmm.
That was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago, so.
Yeah, now
that was a very long time ago.
We've upgraded. We're in this fancy new studio, and
I see. This is great.
We're on the YouTubes now, and we recently started the Patreon, so we're just shilling for people's money constantly. It's great.
Hey, we made money on ads.
I know that job.
Yeah.
We can officially say we made money with ads.
Yeah, we made money on ads now, which is really, really cool. So, yeah, we have
That's awesome.
We have enough to like almost buy a pizza.
Yeah, almost.
It's pretty sweet.
It's something. We couldn't feed ourselves before.
I also run a Twitch channel.
Yeah. So you know the struggle.
I know that feel. Yeah. I know that struggle.
Well, let's.
We're getting ready for the OnlyFans. We're not there yet.
We're almost there. We're coming up. We're backlogging content.
Yeah.
Yeah. My nerdy confession, Christian, is I just finally bought an airbrush for my mini painting.
Nice.
Obviously, we just rambled about all the minis that I've been painting, and so I bit the bullet, and I got a Badger Patriot airbrush, and it's fucking awesome.
It's hard for me to imagine using an airbrush on something that small. It seems crazy to me.
Well, that's what she said. No, it's the airbrush does a really fine point, but obviously, I'm not going to be airbrushing eyeballs or getting into real fine detail stuff. But I mean, you can get I think the diameter of an eraser is a pretty easy thing to accomplish, and you can actually get a little bit closer even too. It just takes, you have to get the right consistency of paint and the right air pressure, and then make sure that you don't splatter it all over the fucking place.
It's also hard for me
because that is a tricky part.
Yeah. So
when I was in school for illustration, we were trained so hard not to use airbrushes, and it's like a cheating thing, and it's so now it's hard for me to be like, I'm okay with it.
Well, in the mini world, because I've now gone headfirst into the mini world. There are people who still think that airbrushing is cheating. But there's also certain techniques that are just either so much easier or come out so much better using an airbrush, getting really, really smooth blends and things like that. But also the thing
blending especially.
Yeah, blending is I did one model yesterday, which I sent you.
Yes.
That it's I sent or I tried on one little Space Marine. I'm just I need to try and see if how this works and blend the colors up and stuff, and it came out pretty good. It wasn't amazing, but it came out pretty good, and that was my first time trying it at all. So it's definitely takes some getting used to and getting the control and the consistency, and then you have to kind of learn the cleanup and everything. But it's fun. I'm excited to keep learning. I will come back when I have more airbrush thing. Christian, how about you? What's your nerdy confession?
I just started, and I've been enjoying Sinner with Jessica Biel on Netflix.
Okay.
It's pretty good. It's very slow in the beginning, and then something happens, and you're like, holy shit, because it just happens out of nowhere, and then that's where I got sucked in. So I actually took a pause from The Strain, which I've been enjoying a lot, to watch that. So I need to finish Sinner so I can go back to The Strain.
Okay. And The Sinner came out a couple years ago, right?
It has 3-4 seasons.
3-4. Jesus Louise.
With Jessica Biel, and I haven't seen her in anything for a while, I feel. I think she was doing voice work.
Maybe.
I can't even imagine. I can't even think about the last film she was in. Was it Chuck and Larry?
Maybe. Yeah, Chuck and Larry. That was a funny one.
But it's so good. You guys should watch it so I can talk about it with someone.
Yeah.
But
I know. Well, I'm always looking for new TV shows because I am constantly running out. And a little bit later in the show, we'll talk about one of our favorite TV shows currently on too, which is awesome. But Fabienne, how about you? What's your nerdy confession? Even though you've already given us so much.
Yeah. So I think my original nerdy confession was my first video game crush was Riku from Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yeah. He's a good one. He's a handsome fellow.
Was that the main character?
No, that was cool. That was the cool guy that the main character wishes he was.
He wore all black.
I have a type.
Yeah. he's the guy he's got sky blue hair and obviously the big baggy pants and stuff. And he kind of turns evil, but then he comes back, and then in the second game you get to play as him a little bit.
Oh, nice.
What'd you think of the new Kingdom Hearts? Kingdom Hearts 3.
I haven't played it.
Oh, okay.
That's all right. I haven't played any of the Kingdom Hearts.
You know, I've been waiting for Kingdom Hearts 3 for so long that when it finally came, I was just like, this is, I don't know what I expected, but this isn't it. I was very disappointed.
I remember seeing the trailer, and it's like Sora all of a sudden had a neon bazooka, and teacups started shooting out of it, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, they integrated some of the Disneyland rides into the summons, and they're just like they recharge so fast that you see them all the fucking time. I'm like, I'm done with the stupid pirate ship from Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm done with the teacups. It just happens like every 20 seconds, and and the story just got so convoluted. You know, it's like the first was so good. The first was like one of my favorite games of all time, but
I couldn't do it. I started and I got stuck.
Well, you started it like a year ago,
and I got stuck, and I was like, I can't do this, man.
Back when it was on, what was it? PlayStation 2?
1.
PlayStation 1?
No, 2.
2.
Yeah. Back when it was on PS2, we're like, dude, look, the graphics are so awesome.
How far we've come.
Yeah, exactly.
So as far as like a nerdy confession now, this is hard. Because I have no nerd shame now.
Well,
doesn't have to be.
Yeah, we obviously don't either.
Oh, okay.
It's just like some fun nerdy thing about you, or something you're obsessing over currently, kind of thing.
Currently I am working, and I'm working on a online LARP.
Oh, there you go.
That's a confession that I guess talk about.
Actually, last week we talked about how we don't know shit about LARPing.
Yeah.
So if you can school us a little bit, like we were trying to like, is it super similar to D&D, or like I was trying to figure out, like, if you're throwing a spell, like what is the range of, like, is it a cone? Is it a cube?
Or is it just how strong your arms are?
Like, yeah, we hit someone with a sandbag, like.
So it depends on the LARP. So first of all, there's lots of different kinds of LARPs, not just genres, but like play styles.
Okay.
So the one that you're talking about, Christian, is a boffer LARP, and there's typically mechanics involved in it, just like D&D, where it's like, my sword hits for 5.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's the other thing we were trying to figure out. Like, if you hit someone, like, how do you know if it's a killing blow, or like what someone's HP is at, or?
So that also depends on the game, because every game has different rules and mechanics. So typically, when you're fighting in a boffer LARP, boffer is when you have the swords and the weapons and the mechanics. Like you hit, and your single hit is always like 1 HP.
Okay.
Right? And then if you have some sort of skill that is on your character sheet, or a special weapon, then your call changes. So I hit you for 5.
Okay.
Now.
Gotcha.
So you as the player now have to keep track of what your hit points are. Usually a game will be like 10. The most you have is 10 hit points. So you're not doing a whole lot of math. But
Sure.
Again, it depends on the game. I've been to games where like I have 80 hit points and I have to keep track of that.
Oh my goodness.
But it depends.
Now,
completely.
can someone who like does kendo show up with like a sword, and it's like, all right, his skill is going to be way above everyone else, like, and you're not going to be able to get a hit on him?
Yeah, I have a couple friends. One of my friends does kendo, and then one of my other friends does wushu. And they're both like experienced swords people, and they're very good at fighting. They do have to learn like how to, because you like obviously you can't hit in the head, you can't hit in the hands, you can't hit in the groin. Things like that.
Fun is that?
Yeah, I'm not playing.
Yeah.
Fuck that. There are games, especially in Europe, that are hardcore like that will like full on head contact, like tackling, running into like thousands of people.
Now you're not talking about the dudes who are full on
plate
armor, right? You're not talking about that.
No. They use foam armor.
Okay.
I mean, they do wear plate armor, but they're not fighting with like metal swords. They're fighting with foam swords.
Yeah. Obviously, that makes sense.
No, but I've seen some where dudes are hitting each other like with actual fucking weapons, and they're full plated and shit.
Yeah,
that's a whole like
that was medieval times.
That's
we
like
went
a whole medieval times. That's a whole sporting group that like does, and they're cool. Like they look fucking rad, but that's not necessarily LARP because there isn't necessarily role play involved. So that's the added on to it, is that there's just like D&D, you have a character, you play your character, you know, like story happens, there's a big bad guy you got to fight. The game that I'm a big part of, everyone, it's like a town, and everyone like has shops in the town, and you can go buy things.
That's
and
so
it's
cool.
Pretty fun.
Who has a cannabis shop?
Yeah, of course there's
there are potion shops.
Oh. Yeah.
There's a couple tea shops that are pretty good.
Nice.
There's a forge. Actually, my friend Gil, who plays in that game, he's actually a blacksmith.
Oh, okay.
The Don't Fuck Me Gil. He's actually a blacksmith, and he plays in the LARP that I play, and he'll come and set up his forge and like forge a game.
You mean the dice maker, the actual guy who makes?
Yeah, the dice maker.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Don't fuck me, Gil. Yeah.
That's once you said that, I was like, I know that Gil.
I know
it's Gil.
You can't fuck him.
Gil the Vlogsmith is his official @ So go follow Gil the Vlogsmith.
That's awesome. And so when you're thinking about like one of these LARPs where it's say one that's closely related to D&D, who determines like the plot of it, or is everyone just kind of free for all? And are there missions set up by like an organizer or something like that?
Yeah, so there is a team of plot staff.
Okay.
They're essentially the DMs, right? Just like in D&D.
Sure.
The game that I'm a part of, there's like 50 of us. So there's a lot of plot staff that run around and run the game. But there is still player initiative in that game. So again, like people were like, hey, I want to run a shop. They don't necessarily participate in like the overarching plot. There is an overarching plot, but they don't necessarily have to or want to participate. There's all these staff members, right? And they play NPCs, like they cast themselves and others as NPCs. They have big bad characters that come into town. They also have crunchy little imps that come into town and fight and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's very much like honestly, if you think of D&D and WoW, it's very much like that, but you do it in real life.
Sure.
Now, are there brothels?
So it depends on the game.
They all have them, Cody. The audience wants to know.
Our game has minors. So we do have
like
a
caves
brothel,
and jewelers.
Yeah.
but it is not that kind of brothel.
Okay.
You just go on dates.
You go on like cute little anime dates. Essentially,
God.
our game is very like anime centric. So,
oh, nice. That's cool.
Yes, pretty fun. Mm-hmm.
Huh. And so you said there's other genres too, right? So
yes,
there's like sci-fi LARPs and like maybe like a
post-apocalyptic zombie survival's really
popular.
That's
cool. That makes sense.
There's a couple games, both fantasy genre and post-apocalyptic genre, that are big franchises. So they have games in like different parts of the United States, and you can travel if you want to go to the game in Southern California.
Yeah.
And then go to the game in Seattle. Your character
transfers
can port over, as well as whatever happens in the SoCal world might affect whatever the
players
world.
will lie when they travel, like, yo, I'm just gonna level up really quick when I go to this other place. They're not gonna know your character sheet.
That's crazy.
It's a database, so they do have your character.
Oh, damn. Smart.
Following the game around like a fish groupie, for the band Fish.
And there's other LARPs that are really
white
popular
people thing,
too.
Christian, I'm sorry.
He saw the blank stare in my eye.
Like, who? This band called Fish. They're kind of like the Grateful Dead, another band, and hippied out white people just follow them across the country. They don't have any money. I don't know how they do it.
Oh God. But there are other genres of LARP too that don't involve combat. Vampire the Masquerade is a very popular one.
That's one that I keep hearing about, but I know nothing about.
Yeah, so there's a tabletop version that's the most popular one, obviously. But then they actually write in the book how you can LARP it.
Oh, interesting.
And it has mechanics, but they're not physical. You don't hit each other. It's actually a lot of Rochambeau. But yeah,
when I think vampires, that's what I think. Rock, paper, scissors.
Two guys in the corner like, rock, paper, scissors. Shit.
Yeah, it's very like, it's those kind of genres of LARPs are called parlor LARPs because it's very much like you go to a place
like a murder party kind of thing
in real
almost.
life, but it might just it's like a murder mystery party. You're in a cool setting, right? You're in a cool house, or you're at a goth club. We used to actually play Vampire at a goth club nearby, and it was really fun.
Nice. Just super.
Now, when you say nearby, you mean LA or San Francisco?
LA.
Yeah, our Satine said she used to go to goth clubs, remember?
Yeah.
She was like, I'm going to one tonight. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. It's before the pandemic happened.
Goth clubs are fun. I know, I missed them.
I'd go to one now. I don't.
And then,
go ahead.
I wish. Oh man, pandemic.
I know. I just want to go anywhere. I'll go to a goth club. I'll go LARP. I'm down for anything at this point.
Yeah. And then there's a bunch of other different genres too.
Okay.
Some of them can actually be equated to like sociology experiments.
Oh,
in a weird way,
like the Stanford experiment, where
God, I hope not.
Absolutely,
just sitting there, pressing the button. Beep, beep, beep.
The Stanford jail experiment is kind of a LARP. It's a very unhealthy LARP.
Sure,
like it was not a healthy
people were being
LARP.
tortured.
They were role playing as the prison guards.
As prisoners, and they took on roles, and it was obviously a power dynamic experiment. And it was unhealthy as shit.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to keep that in mind. Don't do that.
So for people who don't know, it was in the 70s and they got a bunch of hippies and no one wanted to be the officers. Everyone wanted to be the prisoners. But the ones that were split up, they fucking took on the role big time and did some sadistic ass shit. They didn't hit them, but they did find ways to hurt them and torture them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, two groups. One was the prisoners, one was the prison guards, and they were in their roles, and they found out that the prison guards, with this power that they
went power
given,
hungry.
They just started treating them like absolute shit. And they're like, oh, we're just role playing. I was like,
that's a little more when you got the dude naked doing leapfrogs over there.
So and those do exist, but there are throughout all of these LARPs, even the boffer LARPs, there are safety mechanics involved.
Sure.
So they're mechanics that aren't they're not in game, but if I am uncomfortable, I'm gonna say, hey, I'm uncomfortable.
Right.
Like this, I won't say it, but I might do this, and this means bring it down a notch.
Yeah. Let's.
This is uncomfortable.
Right.
Or
Pineapple,
if it's hey, I need to step out of this. This is not okay. It's literally. Yeah. And then you walk away.
Yeah, I imagine anytime you have a group of so many people, and obviously even with foam weaponry, you're still walking around with big old staffs and swords and stuff. There has to be at least someone, some way to kind of call it quits when things need to calm down,
right?
Because there's always going to be people who take it a little too far, and it's good that they have that kind of stuff built into it.
Yeah. And that's just the basic primer. There's a lot more to it.
Sure.
But it is really fun if you ever want to play. I know a bunch of games in Northern California. I know a bunch of games in Southern California. Y'all have a place to stay if y'all want to come down and check out a game in SoCal or, hang out.
Second guest that invited us. First Vegas, now LA.
I know.
Popular.
Yeah. Everyone just wants to see other people.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Is
there a game that's not exactly, wearing the armor, but in between the wearing actual plate armor and role playing, something in the middle, that kind of feel would be my kind of sweet spot.
Well, I mean, I feel you could probably, role play a rogue, and then you don't have to wear armor necessarily. You can just wear some.
Oh no, I meant
cloak.
the dudes who are really hitting each other, the European games. I wonder if there's something right in the middle,
full contact LARP.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so every game has like, again, different rules. Like I would say like they're how do I explain this? Okay, so like our game, the fantasy game that I play in and I plot for, we consider ourselves a medium to low combat like game.
Sure.
We don't attack people in their tents. We don't hit. We specifically like
that would be the worst.
The face, you don't hit in the groin.
You're just you're just like in your tent, either like selling stuff or sleeping or whatever.
Someone casts fireball.
So it's just like fireball, motherfucker.
So a lot of the zombie like survival games are like that.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Is that like Nerf guns for the shooting or?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
Okay, I want to do that one.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Sounds stressful.
There's actually
also you're terrible at zombies.
Well, that's Call of Duty, and I've been getting better. Thank you very much.
My friend Kai runs the Bay Area zombie apocalypse game, Dystopia Rising, Sin and Con. So if y'all ever want to do that, it's pretty amazing. Kai's like a really talented artist. He does props and sets down here, as well as he's a very experienced LARPer. And I highly recommend it. It's really fun.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Once COVID starts going down, maybe.
Yeah. Well, might have to check it out and make a video out of it. Everything's content nowadays.
Or we could just wear gas masks. It's part of the lore.
Ooh, even better. Yeah.
I mean, they haven't been running since the pandemic. They probably aren't going to run until
things settle down.
There's a green light to have big events, but his events are big. Those games are over 100 people.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Nice.
They could go on and just it's one more level of immersion because you could really catch an infectious disease.
That's true. It's just
from one of the people who
buy
role
playing.
Yeah,
look at that.
Yeah, it's one step further.
No, don't do that.
Don't do that. Yeah.
Or do. Or don't do
it. But it would be cool if it did. No.
But it'd be more immersion if you did. All I'm saying is you're hardcore if you do it. That's all I'm saying.
That's all
I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to take a quick little commercial break. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about WandaVision. Yeah?
Woo! I'm stoked.
All right. We'll be right back. And we're back. Through the magic of filmography.
Buy that stuff that the ad, or go to that place that was advertised.
Or rent that service or whatever.
I don't know if we had a rental stuff yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we've had anything. We had an ad for Ohio one time. They're like, come to Ohio. It's cool. And we're like, oh, all right.
Okay.
Interesting. All right. So we are going to talk a little bit about WandaVision, the new Disney Plus show program that is the first of the Marvel Cinematic Universe shows to take place or to happen on Disney Plus. Even though I think Winter Soldier Falcon was originally supposed to be first, right?
Yeah.
It was supposed to come out in August or something, but obviously due to the pandemic and reshoots and things like that, things have moved around a little bit. But yeah, WandaVision. We have seen through episode, what is it, 5?
4 or 5? Is it 4?
I think it's 5.
5?
I think it's 5, yeah.
But while you guys are listening, what the fuck are you talking about? It's the 6 episodes.
Yes, exactly. So you guys will have another episode under your belt by the time this comes out. So we will say, yes, spoilers. But this is now one episode behind, so it's not really that bad of spoilers.
So we're either going to guess some shit that happens.
Ooh, yeah.
Or we're going to be fucking super wrong.
Yeah.
We need to start taking bets.
I know.
Right now.
I know. We have called so many things on this podcast. Like, I think the podcast came out the day before they announced Mahershala Ali as Blade.
I had said.
And we're like, we're like, what do you think is going to be announced at Comic-Con?
I said it would be dope if they redid Blade. I was like, because it would be amazing to have vampires back in the MCU.
I'm like, who would be perfect as Blade? Mahershala Ali, because he's a great actor. Kind of looks like Wesley Snipes. And he would just fill the role perfectly. The next day, like we were at Comic-Con, or like the next day after the episode release, this was actually a week ahead of time. the episode release, we're at Comic-Con, and they announce exactly that. So we've called things before.
And I said, I promised a fellow other podcast group that I would say this in hopes that we would bring it back to the universe.
Sure.
And for Blade, our friends at Black Girls Do Stuff Too, please hire her. MCU. She'll be great. She wants to be in the movie. So maybe it'll happen. We've thrown shit out and it happened, so we'll see. I said I would say it, and there we go. So keep my promises.
Black Girls Do Stuff Too, the
yes.
podcast. Yeah, I've seen them on the Twitters.
Nice. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, definitely. Christian, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but before you started going to Comic-Con with me, I went to Comic-Con with Fabienne.
Yes. Dude, no. I fucking hate you guys. Well, I don't hate...
We had the craziest adventure.
That's what I was going to say. I don't hate you guys, but I hate what you guys experienced without me. And it just sounds like... And that set the bar for me. Yeah. Like, when I go to Comic-Con, I'm like, oh, this shit's going to happen. Fabienne's going to get us into these fucking parties, and she's going to bring us there. And, it didn't happen.
It was amazing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that was the year I was on your show talking about Comic-Con, because it was the first year that you were going.
Right.
And you were like, give me some tips. And I was like, here's my tips.
Yeah. Stick by me. I'll get you into the cool parties.
I did get to go to Disneyland with Fabienne, so there's that. That's close enough.
Yeah.
I miss fucking Disneyland.
Yeah, so
dude, me too.
And that was the year. That was the year because it was my first year going. My car broke down in the desert on the way to Comic-Con.
Right.
And you called me. You're like, "Hey, come find me. I'm about to meet Stan Lee, and I'll get you in." And I'm like, "Look, I'm still driving in from the desert. My car broke down. I've been in the desert for 6 hours. I'm so thirsty. I just need to get to the hotel and take a shower." And you're like, "Okay, well, we'll meet up later." And of course, you got to meet Stan Lee, and I never got the chance. But yeah, we went to some fun stuff. We went to a metal show on an aircraft carrier, Metalocalypse.
That was fun.
That was
we
really
went and
fun.
saw Metalocalypse.
I got to go in the mosh pit with the Workaholics.
Yeah, that's what I said. You get me.
Yeah.
Fuck. I hate you guys.
I know. It was a good time.
We went to that, and we also went to the Workaholics party.
The party, we Workaholics
right before
party.
that.
That's right.
And then we went to Metalocalypse.
Yeah.
And they recognized you.
Yeah.
The guy recognized you.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh shit!" I'm like, "Oh." Then we went in. And we're moshing around. I've never been. Well, that's not true. I had been in a mosh pit before, but that was the first one in quite some time. Yeah. All right, we got distracted.
That was a good year. That was a good year. I haven't been back for obviously not the last year, but
or this year. Let's face it.
Yeah,
5 years.
I didn't want to say, but probably this year's not gonna fucking happen either.
Yeah, it's good. That was definitely the highlight of my Comic-Con trips. The only other year that I think is probably better, because I think that year, did I do the Cowboys and Aliens thing that year? It must have been a year later or something.
Oh man, I remember doing that though, to get the shoes, right? Or
no,
was it shoes?
No, it was they were handing out these gold bars, but then we were just randomly standing in line, and the guy's like, "Hey, are you guys in line?" I'm like, yeah." He's like, here's your wristbands," and we go in and we meet Jon Favreau, and he gives us tickets to the world premiere of Cowboys and Aliens, and then we went to the world premiere and stuff.
I remember you saying it's because he liked your hat. You had an Iron Man hat.
Yeah, he's like, "Hey, cool hat." I had an Iron Man hat on. I'm like, "Oh shit, you would know. Oh my god, I love you." and so that was a fun one too. Comic-Con's amazing. God, well, can't go this year. So let's talk about WandaVision. See how I brought it all back around.
All right, predictions, Fabienne. What do you think?
Oh man.
So first of all,
do you really want me to unleash the pinboard?
I'm curious because we've said some stuff on the show before, and I'm curious if your thoughts align with kind of like what me and Cody were saying.
Well, first let's just get your opinion
let's talk
on
about
the show.
Previous episodes, so we know where we're
going.
And let's talk about that too. Yeah.
So overall, are you enjoying the show? Are you a fan?
I love it. I think it's great. Yeah. I think it's very different. Mm-hmm. Like I obviously I already love like Marvel MCU stuff.
Sure.
And like my partner and I just binge watched like all of them in order to actually prep for WandaVision.
Nice.
So like it was like, yeah, it was nice to watch all of them and be like, okay, like, oh, these are great. They're good movies. Yeah, there's little problems in them, but they're good. And then we get to WandaVision, and it was kind of like this nice, refreshing, like fun, yeah, it's serious. Obviously,
it's a serious, but it's also like a completely different format than they've ever done before.
Yeah,
and I think that's the biggest thing. It's like a huge departure to because the Marvel Cinematic Universe, yes, there are superheroes and everything, but it's a very like very grounded reality, so to speak, right? You know, they've only recently started dipping their toes into magic, because always before it was like, oh, it's technology you don't understand. It was like, okay, well,
Right.
You know, a lot of people were getting upset about the format because it didn't follow previous movies. Like, they didn't like that. It was like, oh, it's too slow, or oh, it's this. I'm like, dude, no, it's just you forgot how to watch television and enjoy things. Like
TV show.
Yeah, it's like it has to pace itself a certain way.
Yeah.
Like, sure, I get it. We want to binge watch it. We want to know what's going on, but like, no, man, like they know what they're doing. Let them get to where they're going. You know?
And it's very cool because, like, you know, a lot of people forget comic books are not just constant action scenes. You know, there's a lot that happens in between those big giant full page panels that develops the characters, and I really enjoy it so far. Christian, you like it?
And
Oh, dude, it's fucking great.
I'm not familiar with the comic book, though I have recently deep dived into comic book lore, so I can kind of understand what the fuck is going on. So, if people are like, oh, well, that's not in the comic book, I don't fucking really know.
Yeah.
So,
well,
just heads up.
And I mean, and so much stuff has changed in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Like, I will say I'm not well versed in every single character, but like I love Captain America and I love Thor. Like, those are my two like favorite superheroes. Like, I do like Wolverine and the X-Men as well, and I know a lot about those. But like, there's always going to be changes made, and I think that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done it so far where all the changes they've made have been positive. Like, they're all like, these characters that they've gotten are so good. Like the Guardians of the Galaxy, like, was not a well-known or well-loved book necessarily.
No, but they did.
But they crushed it.
They crushed it.
They made some of like those. That's some people's favorite superheroes now, like Star-Lord and Drax.
Now, I will say this with Scarlet Witch, when they first introduced her, I'm like, she is so fucking nerfed. I was like, that is not the same character in the comics. Now, if they did it because at least what they're hinting at right now is like, that was fucking genius. That was a genius move that they did this in the beginning to do what they're doing now. But I guess we can go into it. She is fucking a lot stronger than people had first thought. Yeah. And I guess in Endgame, I guess like, I didn't notice this, but they said it in the show that she almost defeated Thanos. Yeah. You know, if he didn't call a kill strike.
She could have ended the whole thing.
Right. Yeah. If he hadn't done a kill strike on his own folks, she would have fucking ended it.
Right.
And now it's just like, now they're really getting into her abilities. Like, I mean, I guess we don't know if she's controlling absolutely everything, but we're pretty sure she's controlling a lot of it.
I have some theories.
Go for it.
Sure. So the first,
we should talk about what happened last. So there's setup.
Yeah. So the first,
I have a little bit of.
Yeah. The first 2 episodes were just straight like 50s and 60s, you know, TV shows, where it's her and Vision living together, living this like perfect, you know, suburban life, and you know, this like Pleasantville style community that they're living in. It's black and white. It's 4:3 aspect ratio on the TV. But there's always something that's kind of amiss, and you're starting to see little hints of things. And then it goes into the 70s, and for the first time we kind of see a little bit of what's happening on the outside world, because we see is it Monica Rambeau? Is that the
Rambeau? Yep.
There's Monica, and then there's Photon.
Photon's her mom.
Her mom, yeah. So Monica, and she's, you know, we see that she gets kind of blasted out of the bubble, and she is a sword agent who went in there to investigate, or got sucked in unknowingly. And then we kind of see her backstory a little bit. She came back from the blip. That was a really cool scene.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Because the only time we had really seen that was in Spider-Man, and it was kind of played for laughs, like people just you know, blipping back into existence. But that one, you really saw how serious that would be, where like people are just showing up in hospital beds that, you know, they disappeared 5 years ago or 7 years ago or whatever it was. So that was really cool. And then we kind of see her, and then what's the guy's name? I think his name is Henry Lee. Is that his name?
The detective, the FBI?
The FBI detective. He's from Ant-Man.
Yeah, Park.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's his actual name. I don't remember his character's name.
Yeah, I think it was...
Jimmy's his real name, right?
Jimmy Park, I think, is his real name, right? Yeah.
Which, crazy enough, someone threw out some, like, hey, give him a show where he's solving, like, X-Files, MCU.
Yeah.
I would be fucking down.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Even
if it was just a silly comedy, like whatever the fuck, I would watch the shit out of that.
It gained so much traction
him and
that
Rambo.
a director actually pitched an idea for it. So it might fucking happen, which would be dope.
Dude, yes.
That, like, honestly, that's kind of what I wanted Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to be, and then it kind of turned into this even crazier thing, which it wasn't a bad show. And then finally, in this last episode, we see that, and Darcy from the Thor movies is
She would be great.
There too.
Him with the FBI guy, or her with the FBI guy would be dope.
But yeah, so she's there also, and she figured out that it's broadcasting over TV waves, so they're watching in on the shows. And then in this last episode, they kind of confront her a little bit, and Vision's starting to really realize that something is amiss. And then the doorbell rings, and then she opens the door, and it's her brother Quicksilver, but it's not the Quicksilver that we know from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
It's from the X-Men.
It's from the X-Men movies. I forget his name. What's his name? Do you know?
Pietro?
No, the actor's name.
Oh, fuck. I don't remember.
Doesn't matter.
Someone will correct us.
Yeah.
He's in American Horror. He is the guy that is in American Horror Story. He's that guy.
X-Men. Was it First Class that he was in?
He was in a couple of them. Okay, your thoughts.
I don't remember. Okay, so I think that this is absolutely Disney trying to combine all of the MCU things. All of them. Like, I absolutely think that's what it is. However, I think Disney is trolling us.
Evan Peters. That's his name.
Level. That's the name, Evan Peters, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Disney is trolling us to a whole nother level.
Yeah.
Okay. And I don't think that is Quicksilver.
Okay.
So who do you think it is?
So, I think that it is the person who is manipulating Wanda into staying in this perfect world that she is creating. And I think it's Mephisto.
Okay.
Nice.
A lot of people think so.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been kind of toying with Mephisto because, there's been like some subtle hints.
I'll throw out my theory.
Okay.
I have two. And it's either that she brought him from another dimension, which is she's gaining more powers. He is from the X-Men. Or that she just picked a random person to play as her brother. And if he gets those abilities, then she just created mutants, which is kind of like what they're trying to bring in anyway. So those are my two. I'm not too sure which one I go more.
Well, he hasn't shown any abilities yet.
And this is me assuming that he will have them.
So here's why I think it's Mephisto. There's a couple reasons, but that whole episode is kind of like solidified why I think he's Mephisto.
Sure.
Agatha Harkness is one of them, where she's constantly making these devil references. Who
we should say is
all that's
her neighbor Agnes,
the one who knows more than obviously because the other ones, when they figure out they're in a show, they freak out.
She's the only one who's like not completely controlled. She's just kind of playing along.
Yeah, she's like,
she's
take it from the top.
Cast as the nosy neighbor in this sitcom, which the nosy neighbor archetype knows everything.
Right.
They know, somehow they know everything, almost like they're watching it.
Yeah, exactly.
Happen, like they're not in the world, they're watching it from afar. And that's why, Agnes has all these moments where like she comes in and saves the day with the meal. She introduces the Wanda to the women's group for the children. Right.
She comes over and takes care of the babies that she's not freaked out.
Babies.
They grow and she doesn't freak out at all.
And that's the scene that kind of got me, because like whenever something that Wanda didn't want happen, she just rewound it.
Right.
But then when it got to Agatha, she didn't rewind it, and Agatha was even like messed up by it. Agatha was like, "Do you want me to take that again?
Right?
Do you want me to rewind?" Almost that Wanda doesn't have control of Agatha. Agatha is either being controlled by someone else or has her own control, and I think it's that she does have her own control, but she's kind of being manipulated by someone else.
Right.
To,
and so
like, believe in this world.
And so in the comics, Agatha is a witch who survived the Salem witch trials, and she kind of mentors Wanda in learning about her powers, which I did like that they finally called them hex magic, because it's it's
the
like
shape of the dome.
The dome has like hexagonal like shapes on it and stuff. So that was kind of funny.
And then also in the comic books, she does actually work with Mephisto. So that's another kind of like possible line there, I guess.
Yeah, like really common witch lore is that they're the brides of Satan, or they commune with Satan and things.
The only
like
thing that bugs me that is that they're not gonna. If they're gonna do it like Thor or other stuff, he's gonna be like a space, entity or interdimensional entity. I wish they would just make him the devil. Like, I really wish they would just fucking do it.
Who is the devil, Christian? He's a guy who lives in a different plane of existence.
I know, but I don't know. We'll see.
But
someone brought up too in one of the crazy theory shows that I watch is that Marvel does try and court China in getting their Marvel things in China, and one of the rules is you can't have supernatural power stuff. So I feel like they might be trying to not link Mephisto to like religion or like any of that, and make it more of a mutant situation, and that he's a mutant, but he's like looks like the devil, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, if they actually came out and said that he's just a very powerful mutant or something like that, who can control reality, that I wouldn't be so down with. I'm okay with the interdimensional thing. I'm okay with Thor being an alien, because like the explanation of that makes sense to me. Yeah, like if we saw this guy who had flowing blonde hair who shot lightning out of a hammer, and if the Viking people saw that, 1,000 years ago, yeah, they'd be like, oh, this guy's a god, obviously. So I'm okay with that kind of stuff. And if he's an interdimensional being who is basically like we think of as the devil or Satan or whatever, I'm okay with that kind of stuff. If they're just like, oh, he's a mutant who controls reality, I'm just like, and kind of pulls the teeth out of him a little bit. But I hope it is him for sure.
Yeah. So moving on with that, the more things that like clicked in me for that episode was the dog.
Yeah.
Because so like Wanda's like perfect world is falling apart. Like her Vision's starting to figure shit out and like shit like that. So of course, what does any fucking person do to fix their relationship? They either have babies, which she already has, or you get a fucking dog.
Yeah.
Now, question for you. Do you think Agnes killed the dog, or was it the missile from...
So I'm getting to that.
Okay.
So I think the dog is also Mephisto.
Ooh.
Because again,
that's deep.
I think Mephisto is trying to keep Wanda in this perfect bubble, this perfect world, this perfect thing. He doesn't want her to leave this world. He wants her to stay in this world. And even when she walks out of the hex to like confront the sword people, she says, why would I leave? I have everything that I want.
Right.
Like she doesn't want to leave. And that's what Mephisto wants. Mephisto doesn't want her to leave.
Yeah.
Like Mephisto wants her to stay there, and he's going to do anything to keep her there, including become a fucking dog, which also is perfect because then he can like spy on Wanda and the family.
Yeah.
Like perfectly.
I will say,
and sniff butts, which everyone knows.
Sniff butts.
Mephisto is totally into.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense because the dog died, and then right after, Pietro shows up. So
exactly.
He wouldn't have been able to do both.
When the dog dies, that's the other thing that kind of makes me like with Agnes, because she's the one who finds the dog.
Yeah.
And she has this moment of like this pause before she answers Wanda with what happened. She goes, I didn't want to tell you this, but here
stalling for time.
Ate this plant. Like that's such a bullshit excuse, right?
Yeah.
Like he ate this plant and he died. Like so random. But I think like that's Agnes starting to understand what I think the not rewinding part kind of made Agnes realize like, holy fuck, I'm being manipulated. This is what's happening. That's why she even tried to get a drink, you know?
Right.
Like, it's her kind of mentally figuring it out. And I think she killed the dog because she knows it's Mephisto.
Okay.
Trying to manipulate the situation. And then,
that's possible.
Of course, now there's that scene where, you know, the credits roll and they're all freaking out and the world's gonna probably implode because Wanda's freaking out, and the doorbell rings and she's like, I didn't do that. And of course, what is the only other thing that's going to keep her there?
Yeah,
her brother being alive.
Yeah,
so and I think that entrance too is such a like that's such a like the villain had to show up in the series.
Right.
And that is a perfect villain entrance series.
That's true.
Like scene.
Yeah. Now, what do you think? Like, why do you think they went with what did we say his name was? Evan Peters?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, Evan Peters.
Why do you think they went with him instead of the guy from Kick-Ass?
Because you can't bring dead people back. She said that you cannot bring dead people back. That's and then
I think
they
that's
couldn't
the
bring
limit of both of their powers is they can't bring dead people back.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. Vision is kind of his own thing because he's
Vision's
a computer.
different because he's
not
a computer.
dead. He's a robot.
He's a robot.
Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah, that's
and I do think like it is Disney trying to bring in like, hey, like this whole universe is a thing. But I honestly think Evan Peters is playing Mephisto because Evan Peters plays a fucking good bad guy.
Oh yeah, he's
like,
great.
He's a monster, and I think like the second I saw him, I remember being like, what the fuck? And then like what Darcy says, she recast her brother, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that's what it is. I don't think he's cast as Quicksilver or Pietro. I think he's cast
Mephisto.
as Mephisto.
Yeah.
Now, Cody, someone put a video that they had hinted the introduction of the Fantastic Four. Oh. So when Rambo says, when they were thinking about how to get in there,
I did hear about this. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, I know an astrophysicist."
Ooh, Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, Mr. Fantastic. Plus, in the board behind her,
I was surprised that she didn't. I've kept expecting someone to show up, and I'm just like, who'd she know?
Well, and the board behind her also has the 4 with the circle, so it's like they're basically hinting it. I don't know. I mean, it'd be really cool.
I know the other theory with that is the Blue Marvel.
The Blue Marvel.
Think.
Oh,
Blue Marvel?
Yeah. I forgot his name.
I don't know who the Blue Marvel is.
He's actually really fucking strong.
He's also an engineer. He's also like an engineer person, and that's why they were like, oh, and it would make sense because she's technically Photon, that like they would somehow know each other.
Another thing I read that they've actually hinted at her abilities because no one else saw the field of the FBI guy. He didn't see the field.
Oh yeah.
He just said, I can't go in there because I'm not supposed to. And she was actually allowed to go through. So her powers is she can manipulate frequencies, radio, X-ray, like a bunch of stuff. And that was why she was able to go in, because she's a mutant.
Photon.
It's the only reason why Scarlet Witch trusted her, because she sensed that she was a mutant. And they were saying that maybe like it's her just gaining her abilities either from the multiple Thanos snaps, hanging out with Captain Marvel, being around people with the stones is kind of bringing up her abilities.
Now what do you...
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the Captain Marvel angle, because like her mom died of cancer from what I would assume would be
hanging out too much
being around radiation and like hanging out maybe too much with Captain Marvel, and maybe that's something that is discussed later, and that would be really interesting.
And that could explain why, because she obviously has some hostility towards Captain Marvel for not being there, and maybe that's why she stays away, is because she found out that she gave cancer to her friend.
And even when they bring her up, I was like, we're not talking about her right now. She definitely didn't want to.
That could be interesting for sure.
Oh, and then the other reason I think he's Mephisto is because his last line to Vision is, "Who is this popsicle?"
Popsicle.
Because he's
like
dead and cold.
Dead and cold.
Oh, I didn't even catch that.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that was like, because like like everyone else sees him as alive, but he's actually
he can see through it.
Like monochrome and undead, and he can see through it.
That's interesting.
I think it wasn't done on. I think it was like a slip on Mephisto's part, probably.
Yeah.
But like that, I think was the clue that it's like
that
you're not Quicksilver.
Right.
You're not.
He's something else. Yeah.
I actually jumped back a little when I got creeped out when they first showed him dead with the hole. Yeah. I was like, I was not expecting that.
Yeah. You fucking got me. And then there's a lot of people online saying that the two people, the couple from the ads, are her parents. That they're like she's seeing visions of her parents who died back in Sokovia.
I was trying to figure out all the stuff because I did see one that was Hydra.
There was Strucker watches, which is Baron von Strucker is the Hydra guy who created the two twins.
Okay.
Then there was Stark toasters. The most recent one was Lagos.
That I had no clue.
So Lagos is where she and Captain America, where she blows up the building when they're from Captain America. What was that? Civil War or
with Captain America and Black Widow?
Yeah.
Okay.
Civil War. Yeah.
Either Civil War or Winter Soldier.
No. Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier. So when she takes crossbones and blows him up, and then he explodes, and she blows out that one building. It's that was in Lagos, which is next. It's in Nigeria. It's the capital of Nigeria, close to Wakanda, which is where Black Panther gets pulled into the universe. But also that the whole ad was like for cleaning up messes that you didn't mean to make, and she was obviously torn up about murdering all those people. Now, what do you think if she obviously this world that she's created is all about her kind of desires, the things that she wants, right? And including her two children, her alive husband, and her alive now returned brother. You think at the end of it, like, because she feels alone, right? She has been abandoned. She hasn't been abandoned, but she has lost her husband, her brother, a lot of the team that she was a part of, her adopted family, so to speak. And so she feels isolated and alone, which is causing this kind of mental break in her that she's having. Do you think that at the end, she could, in a desire to make more people like her, create the mutants in the Marvel Cinematic
Universe?
That's
where I said we had spoken about it before, like a reverse House of M, where instead of getting rid of mutants,
more mutants.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
I'm just wondering if they're going to call them mutants.
Yeah. Well, they can.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, they bought Fox.
They bought Fox, so now they can. But who knows? They could call them, enhanced.
I mean, I think that's a fair, that's fair. Is like this is what is bringing the mutants, the whatever Fox's X-Men into the world is Wanda's insanity.
Yeah.
I also I think they might be setting up for Wanda to be a villain, which I mean could be cool. I'm cool with that. As long as it's cool.
I don't think they'll do it for long. I'm sure she'll come back. Yeah.
I feel like they won't. It might be a minute. Or maybe she's not the villain, in whatever, what's the next one? Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah.
Maybe she's the conflict, but she isn't necessarily the villain.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of been Scarlet Witch's role for a long time. Is she's not necessarily evil. She's just due to her upbringing and some of the traumatic things she's gone through, she's become a hard individual to deal with, kind of like the Hulk.
Right.
The Hulk is not a bad guy, but during Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, he was the big issue, the big conflict in those series. So I could see that happening.
What I think
same with Killmonger.
Yeah.
Killmonger. Yeah.
Doctor Strange.
Namor.
I think what's gonna
we need to see.
That's fucking.
We need Namor.
I think the new Doctor Strange movie might be oh shit, I've been busy with other things. I didn't notice what Scarlet Witch is doing. I have to go and fix all the dimensions that she had fucked up.
Right.
Which could mean her pulling him from the other from the X-Men. I don't know, it could still go anywhere.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where it goes. And hopefully we'll have some more answers by next time we record this podcast.
Anyone's listening to this, you're you guys are dead fucking wrong.
Yeah.
Holy shit, you guys are super
taking
right.
Bets.
Yeah.
I'm taking bets. I don't care. I'm taking bets. My bet is it's Mephisto, $100.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you're right. And if it's not specifically Quicksilver, I think Mephisto is somewhere involved.
Pre what you explained, if you had said $100 is Mephisto, I would have been fuck yeah. Now that I've heard everything you said, I'm not too sure if I want to take that bet.
Yeah. It sounds pretty convincing.
I think it's Disney. Disney is absolutely trying to bring that world in, but I think they're they're trolling us. They know the fans. They know the fans are gonna want this.
Yeah.
Or like, oh cool, the X-Men are coming in. Oh, that's the easy answer. Like they want to troll us. They want that oh fuck moment at the end of the season. And I think that is the oh fuck moment, is that he's been fucking up Wanda the whole time. Like anyway.
I could see it happening. And I could also see it that Mephisto's somehow controlling his body, and then when he releases him, he's like, oh my God, where am I? And he is actually Quicksilver from a different dimension, and then you could do like a twofer.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, that's true.
So,
I also just think Evan Peters is really good.
He's so good. He was so good as he was also so good as Quicksilver. Like he was the best part of those movies for sure.
I really like the scene in the school where he saves everyone.
Yeah, grabs the pizza, takes the dog and stuff. Yeah, so good.
But also, could be true what you're saying, because that's how Mephisto works. He's like, hey, I'll give you what you want, but it's always like one of those monkey paw deals. But I'm gonna fucking take something else that's gonna fuck you up. So it could happen where like I'll give you vision, but I'm gonna fuck with your mental health and wreak havoc. So I don't know. It could go either way.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, we'll find out in a couple of days when a new episode comes out. I'm excited to see where it goes, and let us know in the comments what you guys think's happening, and then once the episode comes out, let us know how wrong or right we were. And then Kevin Feige,
let me know who I owe.
Yeah, Kevin Feige, call us because we got a million ideas. Well, awesome. This was super fun. It was awesome catching up with you. Let everyone know, like, where do you want people to follow you? Instagram, Facebook, any of your groups? Home from the grocery store, like they can follow you anywhere.
Oh no, don't follow me at the grocery store. Not right now.
Don't throw out those ideas, Cody. There's a bunch of sickos out there.
That's true.
I have a bunch of places, so if you want to check out my personal stuff, I am at Magical Girl Frat. Let me take that again.
Take that from the top. Do you want me to take that again?
I'm just gonna. Hi, my name's Fabienne. So if you want to follow any of my personal like stuff, it's at Magical Girl Fab. That's me. I post a lot of geeky Lolita LARP stuff. However, there's a couple other things. I produce tabletop RPG content and LARP content for the Twitch channel called the Scabby Rooster. It's our LARP tavern that we actually bring to LARPs, but we also built our studio to be our tavern.
Awesome.
And we play tabletop games in our tavern. So that's twitch.tv/Scabby Rooster or at Scabby Rooster on all of our social medias.
Very cool.
And then we also run a D&D podcast called Realms Apart. You can find that, I think it's Realms Apart or Realms_apart.
Okay.
Everywhere. And it is a D&D campaign that me and a bunch of other LARPers from around the world play in, including we got friends in Canada and friends in Europe that play with us. And it's really
That's
fun.
awesome.
So please go check that out.
Maybe
Cool.
one day we can come on as guests on one of these, and
Yeah.
we'll probably wreck the game, but
I'm a very
okay.
I'm a very considerate player. I've been DMing too long to throw the monkey wrench into any work because I hate that. But that's so cool. Yeah, everyone check her out at all those different locations. Watch all the content. I'm excited. I want to check out the wargaming stuff because like I said, I'm going deep into Warhammer. I'm learning more and more.
I'm down to learn to play.
And because I've also found more stuff that I want to get into. I really want to try the game Hate. That sounds cool, and I really want to play Kingdom Death too.
Kingdom Death?
Oh yeah, Kingdom Death.
Dude,
Yeah.
Kingdom Death is like the miniature Holy Grail game. It's
Sounds expensive.
It's like $700.
It is very expensive, yeah. But the pieces are like beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I'll show you some.
it's like it's a tabletop like D&D-esque game that you like start from nothing.
And you like
and
build
then you
a civilization kind of thing. It's fucking
That actually sounds kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's so
It's really cool.
I'll have it one day.
If you ever want to play Warhammer, me and a couple of my friends, we play Warhammer on Tabletop Simulator.
Okay.
You can kind of like learn how to play without spending a shit ton of money.
That's what I'm talking about.
I'm way past that. I've spent so much money.
But it's also like if you want to
Sure.
play like with your friends, not
not at a competition or something. Yeah.
Or like in socially distance.
That's true. That makes sense. Yeah, I might have to take you up on that. That sounds great.
You can just use those trash pickers and to like move it. So
move
so
the characters.
Keep the distance.
Move 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Check out all of those videos, podcasts, and whatnot, and you can of course check us out at nerdswithfriendspodcast.com. It's where we have all of our info, our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and of course. Please check out our Patreon and consider supporting us on there.
On the higher end stuff. That way we can throw in some OnlyFans stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
We got to get the higher end stuff.
If we get enough traction on there, we'll do the OnlyFans. But just $1 or $2 a month really helps support the podcast. Helps us buy new microphones, pop filters, computers, and the like. And thanks.
I think your high end tier should be a lewd calendar.
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, we could throw that in. That's
nerdy lewd calendar.
$1,000.
Just hide the nips.
No
underwear.
No, for $1,000 they get the nips. But thanks again, Fabienne, for coming on. It was so great catching up with you. And Christian, as always.
Yes.
Always my side hoe every time. And to all the nerds out there, remember, you're not alone. You're with friends. This is Nerds with Friends. Thank you and good night.